Firstly, welcome to St James's and RORC HQ. Jeremy Wilton, the CEO of RORC, and it's a great privilege for me to be able to introduce these two outstanding offshore sailors in Alexia and Caffari, who I'm sure you all know very well from their exploits in offshore sailing around the world. And it's a great privilege for us to be able to stage a lecture here or a talk here about the Famous Project. So Alexia is the skipper of the Famous Project, and Dee is the co-skipper. And if you all know, they're attempting an all-women's campaign to break the Jules Verne Record around the world on their MOD70, which is inspiring and very exciting. And it's even more inspiring because they're focusing on, it's an all-women crew. So they focused on the inclusivity part of yacht racing, where we're quite weak at the moment generally in big boat and especially offshore racing. And as part of their messaging and part of their campaign, it's about trying to be more diverse. So they're trying to get more young people involved and more women involved, not only in their campaign, but also in the sport generally, which we totally endorse and support. And that's why we are so pleased that they were happy to come and talk about the project here, and we're able to invite our members to come and listen to their inspiring campaign they have. And also as part of this journey, which is great for us, they've committed to being part of the Transatlantic Race, the RORC Transatlantic Race, that starts in Lanzarote at the beginning of January, the 7th of January, across to Grenada, and then the Caribbean 600, which obviously, if you all follow us, has grown quite substantially. And this is the 15th anniversary of the Caribbean 600, and it's the 10th anniversary of the Transatlantic Race. And I can't thank the ladies enough for coming and talking about the project, and I hope you be inspired and will support them on their journey forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so thank you for this opportunity to tell you more about the Famous Project. I did bring my co-skipper and translator, because as you can hear, I'm not English, I'm French. I was born in Paris, and luckily my parents moved to Antibes when I was 3 years old, and at this time I did start sailing with them on a really tiny boat, like 21 feet, and going just around, Antibes to maybe Île-de-Lérins or Cannes was like a huge adventure when I was young. It was like really my first time sailing on a sailing boat with my brother and my parents. And at this time, I have to tell you the truth, I didn't want to be a sailor. I wanted to play in NBA. Okay, I stand up now because you have to realize that, yeah, I'm not super tall. And at 12, when the time came to choose my study and maybe go for sport and study in the same times, it was basketball and college, my mother told me, we are not going to do that. You are small, you are a woman, you are French, you will never play on NBA, so forget your plan. And I was devastated. It was like my dream crashed. It was the end of this dream. And luckily, a few weeks after that really, really bad news, I saw on the TV the first start of the first Vendée Globe. And I decided that I will do that. I will be a skipper of a Vendée Globe. And this time, I won't tell any adults what is my ambition, because I know that they will say, oh, you are not like that, you cannot do that, it's too difficult. So I just start working hard and go for it. That's how it starts. Yes. After that, I had to sail with a famous sailor like Dennis Conner or Florence Artaud in different crew and teams, international. And I went for my first transatlantic single-handed when I was 25. It was a Transat 650 mini Transat from France to Brazil. And after that, I did 17 transatlantic. And finally, in 2020, my first Vendée Globe, and I finished. So that's how things are going when you go for your dreams. Sometimes, if you don't give up, you can catch them and realize them. And well, you know Dee, but I will.
Yeah, just to put a little bit of background to my sailing, not quite the same story, but I grew up not sailing at all. I didn't sail as a kid, which is what everyone would expect you to have done, like starting little boats, get bigger and get the mileage. But I went to ballet classes and tap classes, and sailing wasn't really on the agenda. I went to university and I chose the most practical degree I could possibly do, and I could pick a sport to major in, and it was a sports science degree, physiology, biomechanics, and I majored in outdoor activities, and part of that was to go sailing. And I broke the ice in Eden Tarn in Yorkshire and did my capsize drills. And then I went offshore, well, cruising, coastal sailing in the Outer Hebrides in Scotland. And that was when I realised that two boats going in the same direction, whether the other boat knew it or not, was clearly a race. And so that was probably a sign. I actually went on and did a PGCE and was a school teacher for 5 years before I then changed careers and committed to sailing. So I came into sailing very late and then crammed a lot of miles in a very short space of time. And we were actually sailing last week in Saint-Tropez, and with the crew that Alexia has put on the boat for that, we actually had 12 around the world on the boat. So anybody that came with us was in pretty safe hands. But until this project came along, my focus has been on monohulls, right way around the world, wrong way around the world, whatever way around the world, on my own, with other people, leading them, being part of a team. But now it's about going fast on a multi-hull. So maybe we should show you a little video to kind of set the scene for the project.
Je suis sûre que vous aussi, vous avez des grands rêves. Des rêves d'enfant même peut-être. Mon premier rêve d'enfant, c'était le Vendée Globe, et mon second, le trophée Jules Verne. Et c'est pour ça que j'ai lancé The Famous Project. C'est un projet vraiment unique, exceptionnel et différenciant. The Famous Project, c'est un engagement sur l'éducation pour donner envie aux jeunes de se dépasser, de réaliser leurs rêves et de comprendre qu'en travaillant dur, chacun et chacune peut réaliser ce qu'il veut dans la vie. La mixité est un volet important de ce challenge, évidemment, avec un équipage 100% féminin. On a envie d'inspirer les jeunes générations de femmes, de petites filles à se dépasser, à oser, à ne pas se mettre de barrières pour réaliser de grands projets et atteindre leurs objectifs. Tourné vers l'environnement. Depuis 12 ans, avec Format et Planète, on prend des datas sur l'océan pour les scientifiques du monde entier, et nous allons poursuivre ce travail en partenariat avec l'UNESCO et les scientifiques européens. C'est également évidemment un défi sportif très fort avec des valeurs, l'engagement, le dépassement de soi, la coordination, la collaboration, le travail en équipe, tous ces ingrédients nécessaires pour se présenter sur la ligne de départ du trophée Jules Verne. Un projet ne peut pas vivre sans engagement, et un engagement n'existe pas sans projet.
So there's a proverb that says, if you want to go fast, you go alone, and if you want to go far, you go together. we'd both gone alone around the world, so now we're going together, but we still have to go really fast as well. So we're going to blow that proverb out the water.
Yeah, in fact, when I came back from the Vendée Globe, I wanted to sail on an Ultime, and I told that to my sponsor, and he told me, no, it's not possible, the boat is too big, there is no woman, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, I will do it without you. So bye-bye, my sponsor. I will find someone else. And he was ready to sign for another Vendée Globe, so it was kind of a risk. But if you are not, happy with what you are doing, and when it's like talking about extreme sport like Vendée Globe or Trophée Jules Verne, it cannot work. So I decided I started to think about with who I would like to sail, and immediately women names came in my head, so I decided to do a 100% women team for the Trophée Jules Verne, and then I called D.
Yes. Thankfully.
Yeah, because I just was looking for the best sailors of the planet, and the names were women and Marie Rioux, and I did ask my friend Marie Tabarly. So the idea was to make a first group of 8, sail together and see how it works, and also open selections to different kind of profile, girls coming from the Olympics, younger sailors. So now we are on a process of a selection of a team, and luckily I found the first sponsor quite fast. It's CIC, the bank, and then I met the owner of IDEC-Sport, Ultime, that you know, I think, because he owns the record now. And it starts like that. And now we have 2 boats, a MOD70 and an Ultime. And we did start sailing at the beginning of the year. Without multi-hull, we were doing match racing. And in March, we start sailing on the MOD70. The MOD70 is a super good platform because, as you said, we have a lot of good competitors like Zulu, and there is Loïc Perron, Cam Lewis, Giovanni Soldini in the game. So when we get to sail against these guys, we are really in competition with the best sailors in multi-hull. So we can really improve and progress super fast. And also in the team, we did bring some coach because it's important to sail with man who knows very well this kind of boat. So you can talk about Brian, you know.
I know Brian very well. A lot of these people know Brian very well as well. So just to put perspective in how quickly this project has moved, a year ago in Saint-Tropez, we sailed together. Alexia had chartered the MOD70 to take guests and talk about the story and put it public. And then at the end of the year, she had purchased the MOD70, which was Spindrift, and then was Mana, and is now called Limosa. And the story of Limosa?
Limosa is the boat who did the longest distance on the planet without stopover. So I thought it was a good sign, a good idea to call the boat Limosa.
And that literally was just a year ago. And so CIC came on board and to help that purchase take place. Then she made a few phone calls. She'd made the phone calls during last summer, and literally a phone call where somebody rings you and says, what do you think of doing a Jules Verne?
I was super scared to call you. I was like, she will say no, or yes, I'm not sure.
I was like, yes, sorry, what did you say? Yeah, you know, I think all of us reacted immediately of absolutely, because the energy and the passion is palpable. You'll get that from Alexia tonight. And then it was like, and at first I thought, well, I'll say yes, but you know, who knows? You've got to get sponsorship, got to make it happen. But actually, as a project, if you compare it to a Vendée Globe project, it's a fraction of the price. But it is like kind of a much bigger platform. It is a much bigger challenge almost. So it's super exciting, and it has moved forwards. And then our first little bit of team building was hilarious. For any of you that have match raced before, I had never match raced before. I went from being a school teacher to sailing offshore and going around the world. I didn't do any of the progressions. So there we were in Elliot's in Le Grand Mot in the south of France with coaches, and they said, oh, you know, quite a few of them were like, oh, it's been a while, but yeah, I've match raced. I was like, I've never match raced. It was a baptism of fire, but over 3 days I became obsessed. It was amazing. And it is all about communication, which was just one of the best team builds possible. We were throwing this boat round a tiny course, speaking franglais. My French is getting much better. Thankfully, as you can tell, Alexia's English is excellent. And I was just like, why didn't I do this before? So it was a really good exercise. And then we stepped on to the MOD70. And one of the reasons it's such a good platform for us is it's really on the edge. It's a 70-foot platform with a rig. And compared to the old team, which is the same size rig but on a much bigger platform, so the stability is much easier, whereas this is constantly, you feel on the edge of control. So this sailing in a mixed environment to get the knowledge transfer is essential, because the guys have been having the ability to sail these boats for so long, whereas the girls haven't had the opportunity. I've done a few deliveries, but none of us have had really much chance to go and race and experience pushing at 100% on the edge of control. So we've got the guys on board that are super supportive and want to pass on the knowledge. So it's accelerating our learning. And Brian Thompson's one of those people. I've done a lot of miles with Brian. And for those people that know him, he's really keen to pass on knowledge. There isn't anybody that can drive a boat faster in the world. Like, when you look at him, you think, how has he got so many speed records? You know, he's a little bit uncoordinated. His legs are just slightly too long. His arms are just slightly too long. And he can drive a boat like he stole it, any boat, in any conditions. So to get that knowledge is fantastic. But we went and did a record in the Mediterranean. So in when the Mistral blows, you either stay ashore or you go and get a record. So the first day it blew, we stayed ashore. And we learned all the theory around how to sail the MOD70.
And
man
safety.
overboard, safety, all the things you should do, shouldn't do. The next day we went out and set a record and threw all the theory out the window. Everything he told us not to do, we did. And I think we added to his grey hair count. The next time you see him, he's a little bit greyer. And we realised just how busy and how far ahead you have to think about things. When you're doing everything at 30 knots, everything is a major to do. Like a sail change is a major operation. And so you have to think so much further ahead. But it's, I got to say, it's a hell of a lot of fun.
42 knots was not super fun.
No, but the nice thing as well is the boat is so wide that when Alexia sat on one beam driving,
Screaming.
We're all in the middle grinding and just chatting. You can't hear us screaming. So as we unrolled a bigger sail, we were like, woohoo, yeah, she was like, bah! And eventually we noticed that she wasn't too comfortable. And so we changed sails again. But yeah, so communication is something we're working on. We actually have to have headsets and you have to wear goggles because you just get nailed the whole time.
Yeah, that was a really good first training. It was the first week of training with the team, and the plan was absolutely not to break a record, but we did that, so it was cool. And then yes, I was telling you we had these two sponsors, and then a third sponsor came, a company named WePro, really big company, the size of Oracle, a company of a tech, and it gives us another opportunity to talk to the world. And being international in the team is something, but we also want to have challenge bigger than us, like sailing, breaking records, winning race, super cool. But I think if we don't bring purpose in our sport, it could be a bit boring at the end. And so we did choose to carry on the work I'm doing with my association. Now it's a foundation named For My Planet. We put sensors on the boat to gather data for scientists working on oceanographic research. And we work on educational program and also on diversity with a new thing that we call the Famous Academy. And we're going to open a think tank to the women of a country where we take a start for race or record. And the next and first one will be in Malta, then in Lanzarote. Whatever is your dream. We open the stage to women to come, and a little girl also to just come and use our light, because we are sportswomen with some notoriety, so we put the light on these women so they can tell the world what they want to do in their life. And for me, it's also something really inspiring, and that gives me more ambition and gives me more strength to try to beat the record of Trophée Jules Verne. I don't know if you know, but it's 40 days and 23 hours. This time is crazy. It was set by Francis Joyon 7 years ago. Since then, no team managed to break it. So it's a big number. Our boat is IDEC-Sport, so we own the record. It's a good sign. This boat did break the record when it was named Groupama, and after it was named Bank Pop, and it break again the record. And with Francis, it break again the record. So no pressure, but
It's had it 3 times, so
yeah,
it's got the pedigree. We just need to keep up with the boat.
yeah, and
So the boat currently is in the shed in La Trinité-sur-Mer.
Multiplast.
So we're next to VPLP that designed it, Multiplast that built it, North Sails that are doing the sails for it. They're all together, so it's in the right place. It's being checked and it's being made super cool. So we get access to her next year, April, May time next year. And one of the ambitions for the summer will be 9 records in 9 days. And we've looked at it, and there's like North Atlantic, there's a number of records that all are in a similar place. If you think round Britain and Ireland, round the Isle of Wight, Cowes Dinard, there's a lot of, and you go everywhere quite quickly in a multi-hull, so nothing takes very long. However, having done the round Britain and Ireland last year, it's a little bit stressful, and that was in a 33-foot boat, and now I've got to fit a 100-foot trimaran through the English Channel and the North Sea and the sandbanks and the wind farms. And
fun.
I'm a little bit stressed by that, but it will be fine. I'll be fine by then. So that's the exciting bit. But I think what Alexia has done, her vision for the project, is she saw a space where there was a void that female sailors weren't getting access to some of this sailing. So she's addressed that and has put this project together. And one thing that she is doing, because we just did it in Saint-Tropez, is actually getting kids on board to experience what's out there, to experience the sailing. So we've had kids from the centre of France that have never seen the sea before go to Saint-Tropez, jump on a 70-foot trimaran and sail at 20 knots. It's a little bit extreme for them. They were just like, ah. And equally, we had optimist sailors that have no idea how big they can dream, come and sail at 20 knots, and they literally were driving and grinding. We were in Saint-Tropez with all the rock star crews, which are very male-dominated, looking at our boat sailing around at 20 knots thinking, God, that would be cool, but oh look, the girls are sailing it. And then we sailed past with all the kids sailing it and grinding. And it was hilarious. So yeah. And we are really showing them that actually there's no difference and anything's possible. You just got to have the confidence to kind of dream big. So it's a real platform that's so much bigger than the sporting challenge. And I think all the layers that Alexia's putting in place is what's getting people excited.
And the plan now is so 2 years of training. So we're going to do 5 races per year with the MOD70 and 3 records per year with the Ultime. And start the record end of 2025. So it's in between October and March. And we are not on a mood for standby together forever. We're going to do around the world whatever happens, because we need to set a reference time for women. So we go to break the overall record, but also to set this time and just give a baseline to other women, and hopefully they will go and try to break this one also.
So it's 25 years ago when Royal Sun Alliance, led by Tracy Edwards, left to do the Jules Verne, and they dismasted at Cape Horn. So in 25 years, no other females have taken it up. So it's just like, what was stopping us? And it's really cool to be in that position to do it and have the support of Tracy and her crew as well, because they've been there, seen it, done it. It's been too long, but yeah, potentially there's a couple of laps really, because if we don't make the record first time, we get the reference record for the women and then go and break it again. And then we know what we're doing. You almost need to do a warm-up lap to get it right. I think that's what I said about my Vendée Globe as well. It's probably why I keep going back around the world.
So yeah, I think we gave you the big lines of the project, and we're going to be happy to answer to your questions if you...
Ask the question.
Yeah.
Is there anything more to add? Because I know an important part of the whole project is about the education of young people with regards to the sustainability of the oceans. Is there any more you want to elaborate on those sort of projects, which are very important?
Have you read our talk? I forgot that, because the record stood for 7 years. And one of the questions is it possible to break the record? Because of climate change, the weather systems are changing. So it's really hard to get that same weather that Francis Joyon had, to get the same conditions and achieve the same thing. And it's a question of whether it actually is still possible. And the other thing that's quite interesting now, because the boat is out of the water so much, the sensors to test for the ocean data and the science that scientists don't have access to, we go to places they can't get to. So it's a perfect platform. But actually, because we're out of the water, we have to think really differently about what sensors we use. So they're looking at sensors that look at from the surface of the water to the first kind of 10 meters. Not necessarily in the water, because we don't spend much time in the water. In fact, we have life jackets, but I think maybe we should think about parachutes personally. You feel pretty high when you're on the hull that's high. Yes.
What alterations are you making? I've been in when it's done the trip a few times. Are there major alterations being done to the boat?
Well, there's a little bit of it did really well, so maybe we should just stick to what it knows. But there is an element, so the rudders is one, isn't it?
Yeah, we're gonna put some more protection on the deck, and because it's like old kind of style, really open and no protections at all for now. And also, Francis had the chance to try the T-rudder to fly more, and he didn't like it, but I think maybe he was grumpy at this time, so we're gonna try it again and see if we get grumpy. Maybe we will not use it, but yeah. So there is a little improvement to do. And also inside the boat, Francis was sailing with only 6 people, so we have to do some kind of modification inside with the banks, kitchen, and make it more easy for 10 people. Because for now, there is absolutely nothing inside, so yeah.
So when it was Group Armour, it went round with 10 people. When it was Bank Pop, it went round with 10 or 8.
8, I think,
8 people. And then when it went with Francis Joyon, it went round with 6.
So, yeah.
So
the inside did change every time.
Yeah.
They change the setting of the crew. So we go back to the first setting.
Is that a nutrition angle that things you've learnt in the last 7 years? Because that feeding yourself on the Vendée Globe, feeding yourself for 80 days is very, very difficult. So how have you organised that, and have there been any advances in food, energy, and how to do that efficiently to get the 5,000 calories, whatever you need every day?
Yeah, it definitely depends on what role you're doing on board to how much you need to eat.
We were talking about the sensor for the performance of a boat, but we're going to have also sensor during the 2 years to monitor ourselves and work on what kind of food and calories we need. Because when you see Elodie Metro, she's 1 meter 88, 85, and she eats 10 times a day, and I eat 2 times a day. And I'm French, I don't take breakfast, only a coffee, so yeah, we have to manage the different kind of people on board, and so we have a program for that. And with our sponsor Wipro, who is in the tech, they will help us to put a dashboard about all these things, so to have a clear vision of how we can improve. But it's a really important topic for us.
And freeze-dried food has actually it's developed loads. Like the varieties out there, you can have gluten-free, vegetarian. I mean, you can have everything. There's no excuse now. Everyone can go offshore with freeze-dried food. But we're actually speaking with a company that is starting to look at what nutrients are lost when the freeze-dried food is created. And we've offered ourselves as like human lab rats almost to test this out, because you don't often get that chance. So we're hopefully going to be working with them so that they can add the supplements or the snack version of the nutrients that are missing to balance that out. But it's a massive science, and everybody's different. So like I know how I eat offshore, Alexia knows how she eats offshore, but we need to kind of make the two work. It's not as spicy as when we have the boys with us offshore, that's for sure.
How do you handle the media coverage when you're offshore? Do you have plans for that?
We're taking Louis with us.
He's gonna have a little surgery and it will be fine.
Well, now with things like, hopefully we're going to work with Starlink, which will allow the streaming. Wipro's really keen that they can perform like the platforms for the streaming. So you kind of, basically you'll all come on the trip with us, literally, from the comfort of your own home, you'll be pleased to know. But we need to balance that with energy, because it's quite energy hungry, and we still then have to work on how to have clean energy that can provide enough, because hydro generators don't work on our platform. So that's evolving as well. Someone will be tasked like as an onboard reporter, and we're trying to get as much content beforehand as well. But international cruise, we can do it in all languages as well.
And we're going to use Metaverse for having a virtual yacht club, so we can bring our audience in a space where everybody can visit the boat, go to the conference, sometimes make sport with us with a Apple Watch or whatever connected system, and really using the new tools of the technology to bring everyone with us in the story, and even, again, non-sailor people is our big target. So we want to make them know our sport on the ocean, so we have to use these new technologies for that.
So how do you run your generators? How do you make your energy?
At the moment, there's a mixture of some solar panels and a fuel cell, and we can charge, but it doesn't run very well when we're sailing fast. But, you know, for example, the Middle Sea Race will take us a couple of days. The Transatlantic will take us 4 or 5 days.
But we work with the...
Took me 35.
We are working with the engineers who did put the hydrogen system and electrical engine on the boat of François Gabard. So, yeah, we're trying all the new technologies for energy and the newest version of a solar panel. So, yeah, we have 2 years to try things. 2 years, it's not so long, in fact, but yeah.
It goes fast, but technology's like moving so quick.
Does the virtual reality technology play any part in your preparation? It's like you're flying a plane, aren't you? I mean, it's obviously virtual reality is key to training pilots. I just wonder whether virtual reality is caught up yet with sailing.
We could have simulators, but are doing that in Sail GP and America's Cup, but we are not rich enough yet. But it will come. But yeah, it's a really good thing to do, like e-gaming and things like that, because when not on our boat, because our boat is really basic, IDEC is super basic. But when you go to SVR or Gitana, you have lots of technology, and you have to be able to play with all the buttons and everything. So it's a next step for us. First trial with this boat, and second one with a newer boat and a mixed team. I didn't tell you the plan.
Cool.
Yeah, in the next years.
It definitely saves a lot of wear and tear on sails on the boat if you can do it through a simulator.
When you're going those speeds and something goes wrong, what support do you have when you're in the middle of the ocean?
We have each other.
Yeah.
I've taken on Team Mum, so I'd be responsible for the medical side and the safety side. But on these boats, if it goes wrong, it is completely wrong.
My goal is to bring back all the crew in one piece before everything else. Yeah.
It's nice to know, isn't it?
So do you have a land crew that keeps a track of we know that when things go wrong, it takes days for rescue boats to get in.
Yeah, so one of the nice things actually when you're sailing one of like an old team around the world is you have weather routers and they have all the sensors, all the dashboard from the boat. So even if you're tired and emotional looking at a screen, they can actually see everything you can see as well. So they can almost preempt stuff. They do a lot of support with the weather and strategy as well because you're moving so fast, it's not always easy to stay up with it and download everything. And you're looking probably less extreme. In the Vendée, you can go looking for the wind that you want. This is actually, you don't want too much wind. I mean, we had 18 knots of wind in Saint-Tropez and we were doing 35 knots. So actually, you're not looking for the big wind. You're looking for consistency and maintaining a good average. You don't want the extremes because after all the highs, you get the massive lulls and that's not good. So it's a bit more considered and probably not as extreme as some of the other races or on the monohulls where you're looking for that extreme type. But, you know, we are going to see it. I mean, Middle Sea Race, we've been known to have 50 knots on that. So you've got to manage what you're in, but we don't go looking for it. But yes, it's all monitored, all linked up. And actually there will be a communication with, you know, all the major rescue areas around to say we're doing this, just because they need to be aware. And there will be an ice. It's not a set ice skate 'cause it's not a race, but there's an ice consideration. You know, we're not going to be fast if there's loads of ice around, so let's not go down there.
I'm interested in sleep. I've just done a 5.5 days, which was my first ever, and the impact of sleep deprivation on our performance and our mood was palpable. And I'm just interested how you guys are monitoring that, what you're doing, and what you agree on that.
Yeah, we haven't really spoken about what experiences we've had, but we've all sailed together, and what you do is you get really good at knowing how people react to things and knowing who needs a little bit more time or needs a back coffee or maybe the chocolate, or as we've established, the chocolate covered coffee beans. But you know, we having been around all of us have been around the world, like the core crew have all been around the world, so we kind of know how we react to things. And recognising that and knowing if you're in a good place or you're struggling a little bit. But Alexia will run a watch system, and on the mod and on the old team will probably be an off watch, a standby watch, and an on watch.
But a super short watch because shorter than in monohull, because you carry more stress and you cannot stay on deck for 3 hours, so it's around an hour. And as said before, crossing the Atlantic, it's only 4 or 5 days, so it's not so long. You can survive without, with a depth of sleep for this time. It's just for the record, we will need to work more on that. But the boat is bigger and more comfortable than the MOD70 because it's higher on the sea, it's a bit underpowered, so yeah, there is less stress than on the MOD70. The MOD70, I think, is a worst and the best way to learn multi-hull.
You can ask RORC to report back on how bad we look at the end of the Middle Sea and then the end of the Transatlantic.
Yeah.
Nothing a good stiff drink can't cure.
Just interested your approach to the weather window as to having the crew standing around waiting for the perfect weather window, just versus just saying like we have to go on this day, we're just going to go and just see how make the best of the winds that we have. Just one of your philosophies around that for the Jules Verne in particular.
Well, we are using Marcel Van Trist and Christian Dumas as a weather specialist, and they have statistics on what's happening. So we're gonna have a big idea of when we should go, and during this decision, we're gonna go and pick a day. But yeah, we won't wait forever to start. Also because it's a training for us, it will be like one of the first trip around the world on multi-hull for women crew, so that's the big story. And we're going to be lucky.
Yeah, I think we're pretty confident, like 10-day forecast, you're pretty confident in the Atlantic. And what generally has stopped the teams in the last 7 years is damage, a problem, or they haven't stayed ahead of the timing, and so they've gone, oh, we're not going to do it, so we'll stop. Whereas we're still go, because you don't know what you're going to get in the Southern Ocean, and more importantly, the toughest one is what's coming back up the Atlantic.
Yeah.
So, you know.
The game with this time is trying to win a little when we go down in the Atlantic, losing as less as we can in the Indian and Pacific, because Francis had really the best weather you can have. So, and then trying to win a little again, going up in the Atlantic, that's the goal.
Which makes it sound easy, eh?
Yeah.
On that note, what are the 3 things that you're most excited about in the next 3 years? What are the things that really drive you, apart from crossing the finish line?
For me, it's getting to know so many people around the world, traveling. When we're going to do San Francisco, Yokohama, record, Miami to New York, and every time we start somewhere, we get to meet the kids, the women, and share the story, and give a chance to people to believe in themselves and try, to go for their dreams. And that's the things I love the most for the next 2 years. That will be that. And also building a team is really an adventure, and I love it. It's learning every day from that.
And that's not easy. So the constructing the team around you is you get it wrong, and it's quite stressful sometimes. But the journey is quite cool. And for me, I'm just like, I get to sail on such a cool boat, and it is so much fun. And I'm quite a positive person anyway, and I genuinely love being out there. I just couldn't be happier.
You've got an amazing stable of boats. You've got an amazing team. It's an amazing Jules Verne effort you're going to do. What are you going to do after that?
Another Jules Verne on a newer boat, for sure. And I start the Famous Academy, like a bigger project to give a chance to women of the planet to reach their goal, and also to the youth, because the school is not made for everyone, but everyone can have dreams, and it's just a question of networking and a little push and giving you a chance to go where you want to go. So when I will be retired, I want to do that, and I also found a teacher.
Old habits die hard.
Yeah.
I still have that in me. But I think it's to have the ability to create a network that's so powerful. And one of the things Alexia always says, if she meets somebody, she's like, if women support women, you can achieve great things. And that's not to cut out 50% of the population. It's just that they need to believe that, so that we can be all of us together. So when we have kids, it's very much about the boys and the girls. But actually, the deficit we have, and what RORC is trying to address of, we have a lack of female participation, and how can we change that? Most of that is confidence or access or opportunity. And if you can provide an environment where entrepreneurs or business women can speak up and showcase what they do, and everyone can go, wow, that's amazing, I support that. The confidence grows and the whole thing grows, and that network can then be wherever this boat goes to go racing. So in Malta, in Lanzarote, in Antigua, and that's really powerful. And actually, when you're part of that, I'm excited about the sporting aspect, but actually I'm really proud of the much bigger picture that we're having an influence on. That was quite deep, wasn't it?
Well, yeah.
So have you chosen the 10 crew, or are you still selecting?
We are still selecting, and this is really interesting, because at first I was like, okay, I take the Top Gun rock star of the planet and put that on a paper and it will work. And it doesn't work like that at all. Because in fact, it's not only a question of palmarès and skills, it's also the attitude, ability to work together. Mm-hmm. So that's why we open the crew to different kind of sailors. Yes. And we receive like 10 CVs per month. Like everyone wants to come in the project. So for sure, the sailors of a project, they need to have like good skills, but you don't have to have done around the world to be part of a crew. Yeah, you just need to be passionate about it and really want to be part of a team. And
so how many crew have you got that are definite, and how many are you still selecting?
yeah, for now we are 4, and we're gonna make a titular team of 10 and a reserve team of 10. Even if a reserve team have a really few chance to go on the Trophy Jules Verne this time, is giving the chance to the young generation to be part of a big project. For me, I have an insurance that they will later on do big projects. Maybe not sailing, maybe not entrepreneur, but they will have the taste of doing big things, and it's really important.
Have we inspired you? Or have we just spellbound you? Everyone's just like, whoa.
How can we all support you? This is amazing, because you will have challenges.
Yes, and challenges that we probably don't know what they're going to be as well. So, you know, if you think about the psychology that's required, all the peripheral stuff that is easily forgotten, you know, there's probably people in your networks that you go, they'd be really good for that. I mean, we don't know what you don't know. All connections are valuable, and, you know, Alexia's achieved a great platform in a year with 3 partners, but we still need partners to come on board. You know, the more partners that come on board, we're still looking for a title partner, but we haven't got the finances to do it how we want to do it yet. The more support we get, the more time we can spend training and the better job we can do. So, and it's really easy to get distracted by the other layers of the project, because they're almost easier to do than the sailing sometimes, because the sailing is an expensive thing to do, as we all know. So yeah, if you think somebody's key to getting on board with this, or thinks there's a layer in this project that would be of interest, then yeah, please, connections, ideas, you know, that'd be great. And we're in international, so, you know, if you think psychology, they need to be able to do it in French as well.
How are you going to work with RORC going forwards to promote women in sailing?
Well, so one thing we're doing is obviously some RORC races. We're going to be present at several races each year and have one of these academies at each of the events that we do, which I think, you know, we will have a conversation with, and there'll be an element of support, because I think it's something that can help grow with the membership as well. And I think Jeremy's now sweating, because he's like thinking, oh my God, what are they going to ask for?
Well, there was a meeting pre-COVID about promoting women in sailing, and I'm a big sailor, and frankly from that very little has happened, and I know COVID happened in the middle, so I think it's really important that we push this forwards.
So we've got him over a barrel, is what you're saying?
I wasn't aware of those conversations at all, and that was pre my time, but I totally support everything you're saying. You know, it's something I don't think the club's been very good at historically.
Absolutely.
It's something we need to get far better at. It's not only promoting the sport within the women sector, but also within young people.
Exactly.
And it's something we're trying to develop a pathway on at the moment. So ideas and input, I'm pleased, let me know, and we'll try.
Well, I sent an email at the time and I never got a response. So, you know, there are loads of ideas
Here we go.
about women and kids. You know, both of our kids sail, and I made loads of suggestions. So it's really important to drive it forwards.
Well, if you can resend it, again, that was pre my time. So if you can send me that email, I'll be very interested in the ideas.
I am pretty confident that Alexia is going to go into his office after this. This is a very good representation.
Yeah, sure.
We're very impressed with this.
Yeah, and just to add to that, and it's really quite interesting, because when you look at the profile of crews sailing our races, especially in the two-handed area, you know, that Kate knows very well, who's here for the Two-Handed Association, there's quite a high density of lady sailors within two-handed. And when you look across all of our racing generally, you'll see quite a lot of ladies, women, girls on boats. But the problem we seem to have is translating those into members, and or taking the younger ones when they have had the first taste of it into keeping them involved with the sport. And there's lots of dynamics within life and society that takes them away. And then when you look at some of the research, and they come back later in life. But again, we haven't quite joined up the dots yet to work out how we keep people engaged, how we keep them enthused, how we bring women into the sport, especially from dinghy sailing, and the optimist side, and how do we get them across that threshold into big boat offshore sailing. And and there's a lot of work involved there, because we need the thinking, we need the understanding, and we need the opportunity. And that's either through boats, through access to boats. We believe we have the facility, but it's the on-water part we need to get right, and we haven't got right at all. Kate, do you want to add anything from your side for the two-handed experience?
Yeah, I mean, I think 200 does quite well in female representation. I think there's very, very few female boat owners. I'm one, but I feel in a very minority. I mean, if you look at something like Fastnet, you look at a female boat owner in a race like Fastnet, you can probably count them on one hand. Which, why do women not buy boats? Because I think women buying boats, then they're on the boat, and then they can decide who they want on the boat.
Yeah. For the campaign, what's the total budget and how short are you?
The budget is 3.5 million per year, and we are missing 2 million per year now. But it's a kind of small budget compared to an IMOCA campaign, and the good thing to be our partner is that we already have some really strong partners, so you enter in a strong team, and we have an international program, so we can make you famous everywhere in the world. So.
You talked about confidence and people having the confidence to dream. And Alexia, you said early in your life you decided not to tell adults what your dream was. Are there key things for you that gave you the confidence to be as courageous as to go after something like this? What took you from not talking to adults to, I'm going to have a go at this?
By realizing that I was good at what I was doing, and realizing that I can trust my talent, you say? Talent, yeah. And everything I was trying something, most of the time it was working, and I had some failed for sure, but so just realizing that if you don't try, you cannot know that, but just you have to try things to realize that you can do it. So I have no limits, that's my problem, I think.
So it is, for somebody who would quite easily doubt themselves, like I would be, you question whether you can do something, or you question whether people believe you can do something. To have Alexia next to you with utter self-confidence and belief, it's contagious, which is fantastic, but it is quite impressive. And she's like, well, no, if I say it, then it can happen. Of course it'll happen. And she's super relaxed about stuff. So I've started to pick this up now. So we were doing a bit of a brainstorm yesterday on planning the year. And we decided, if you want something to happen, like I said, well, if we write it down, then it'll happen. So I wrote a few bold comments on this brainstorming board. And
it did work. We wrote, we want Google as a sponsor, and they came in the office.
That is true. Google did come in the office at the time.
We are not sponsored yet, but...
We also wrote that we'd like Michelle Obama to christen the boat. If anyone's got any contacts, you said, where can you help? We're not too sure how to make that one work, but I wrote it down, so, there you go.
Is there a way we can follow, your progress, from now going forward?
Yes,
so
and
that,
please do.
Then you can, just say, oh gosh, what have you been? Is there a way we can do that from now?
Yeah, you can follow us for sure on the social network, the Famous Project on LinkedIn, and send us messages, and we always answer. Just the website also.
Is the website live yet?
Yes. It will be better in 1 week, but
it's evolving.
You have a email contact in the website. We just launched it 3 weeks ago, so we are still working on it.
But definitely social media, and we've yet to kind of get the TikTok generation. So we're definitely Instagram and LinkedIn, but yeah, we haven't quite nailed our TikTok videos yet. I need to learn more dance routines.
You got to do a dance.
Yeah, I'm up for that. We're up for that.
So the website is the Famous Project?
Yes.
But if everybody commented on the LinkedIn post, it will go to all of your contacts. So if everybody in this room did that, then suddenly that's thousands more people knowing that.
Yeah, and
So
that's where this is so valuable, to share the project, get people excited, and hopefully get you following, and we can do great things together.
How did you come up with the name, the Famous Project?
Oh, it's Alexia's baby. I like this.
Yeah, it's because I wanted to make famous a woman of a planet, so I call that the Famous Project. Yeah.
Because it doesn't necessarily translate.
It's not working in English, I think.
When people talk about it in English, they're like, why is it the Famous Project? And it was quite hard, but as soon as she explained it, I was like, that's kind of cool. And it was actually to shine a light on the much bigger picture.
Yeah.
So how many people will we see in Malta? Anybody here doing the Middle Sea Race?
Chloe. Jeremy.
Holding the race, I'll be there.
I was going to say, are you racing? Okay, well there you go. You can follow our first big RORC race.
We won it last year with the same boat, so.
Yeah, Alexia's defending her title.
There was 5 mud and we arrived 20 seconds in front of Zulu. And Loic, if you see me now, you are crazy about that. I was so happy. Loic Perron and his team, yeah, well. It was a really good fight at the end.
Cool, thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
your time and energy.
Merci.